Welcome back to Wookies on X-Wing. My name is Matt.
I'm John.
And today we've got the final game of the Fredericton Regional X-Wing Store Championships.
And what a game will it be? We have Clayton returning with his Chewie, Predator, Falcon upgrade, or Falcon title, 3PO, Recon Specialist, and Leebo, also Predator, Jan Ors, the Outrider, and a Mangler Cannon.
And his opponent is none other than Rob with his 4 Blue Squadron pilots and a Bandit.
It's very exciting because you've been watching these guys play, work their way up through the games, and finally here they are, toe-to-toe, fighter to fighter, brick to brick.
Yeah, basically. Swarm brick versus, well, compact blunt object.
Yeah, made by the YT company.
Yeah.
So here we have a very interesting deployment of obstacles. We have some of the new obstructions, as well debris fields, as well as some of the older asteroids. Now, one of the neat things is in the newer errata, you actually bring 3 asteroids to the table. You have to like circle which ones or which obstructions you're going to be using. So it's especially with all of the new asteroids coming out with, well, you got the YT 2400 set, and then you also have the new starter kit, and there's very small asteroids. We got these obstacles here.
Yeah, 'cause I didn't notice it at first, but cracking open the new starter set, the asteroids are different from the older ones.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And if you really don't want to, you really want little asteroids, you can have them. If you really want to just take all the big asteroids, you can have that too. But
be a dink.
yeah. So here the fighters are, and it looks like they're probably going to be avoiding the asteroids and trying for a middle engagement, rather than going through the asteroids right away.
Well, especially with this kind of very clustered rock deployment.
Yeah.
It's right in the top corner of the field, tending into the center, but they're all pretty close together.
Mm-hmm.
So I would highly doubt Clayton's going anywhere near those.
Yeah, not for a while anyway. And as seen from previous videos, Rob does a pretty good job maneuvering around those asteroids and setting up a kill box. Now, will Rob be able to set up a kill box for Clayton here? That is yet to be seen, just because of how maneuverable that YT 2400 is with the barrel roll.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the Falcon is a big ship, but it can turn on a dime.
Yeah, we've all seen exactly what the Falcon is capable of for maneuvers. It's definitely deceptive the first time you play it.
I think the real weakness in the B-Wing list at the moment is the fact that he had to deploy all of his fighters at once. Clayton can counter-deploy that meant there. And Clayton knows that he wants, if he keeps Chewie alive, if Chewie's the last to live, he will probably turn out on top if he can kill enough B-Wings. And Chewie is on the outside ring.
And that looks definitely like what Clayton's going for here is lead with Leebo, present that tempting target to Rob of, hey, Leebo is, strangely enough, more fragile than Chewie.
Yeah.
You know, even though he is slightly more evasive. But he still packs more of a punch than Chewie does, because he's got that Mangler on him, right?
So I'm not a big fan of what Clayton did there and try to mosey on the barrel roll to see what he get the best position. When you declare a barrel roll, you pretty much have to put the template down and you're locked into that unless you're, blocking or whatever, or being hit by an obstacle, etc., etc. But surfing the barrel roll, that's a little cheeky.
It is a little cheeky. It's on the landing side. It's a little bit of a gray area. I don't think it's strictly illegal.
Well,
once the template's down, it can't be moved.
Viewers, if you have a direct answer for that question, feel free to comment. We'd like to hear what you think.
But so he's got a nice, a conga line of 2, but nevertheless, there's a conga line here. And as we've seen Clayton fly before, this list it's a circle strafe. It's drive past, shoot you from the side, swing around, shoot you from the side again, or from the front, wherever you happen to end up being.
I think the real strength with the swarm list compared to a double turreted ship like this is the potential for blocking. It's a tactic that I like using with my TIE fighters. It's a tactic that Rob is able to use with his B-Wings if he so chooses. They are really good in those tight corners, and especially turning around and using that 2K turn and the barrel roll action. So I don't think he should completely lose track of that option.
And definitely, and you know, it's the low pilot skill meant he had to deploy first, but the low pilot skill means he can dump his fighters in really awkward positions.
And losing those actions, especially when there's Janors on the field, you know, being able to completely mitigate that action economy that's there, that would be a really strong strength for Rob.
Well, Chewie gets, generally speaking, a focus and an evade every turn.
Yeah.
Just with Jan and a recon. But it looks like, as we've seen Rob fly before, he's flying information, and looks like he's going to likely next turn be just diverting course and gonna try to slam down onto Clayton to start this engagement off.
Yeah.
Start getting as much damage out as quickly as he can, because that is, in this game, that's definitely gonna be Rob's MO. Is he has to get as much firepower downrange as quickly as possible before he starts losing ships.
I'm interested to see why Rob is just going full bore forward rather than engaging as soon as he can. I think maybe he's trying to go after Chewie, which is...
It looks, and also likely to get as much of a clear turn around the asteroid cluster as he can.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be flying through that unless he absolutely has to. He can. He's got the ships to do it, but it's not ideal.
Well, it's one of those things where it puts him in an opportunity to make mistakes, and those are mistakes that his opponent can capitalize on.
Oh, for sure. And that's, as we know, that is, well, the percentage is debatable, but that is a very large percentage of the game is wait for your opponent to make a mistake.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Which is why squadrons like this, like Clayton's, I like to call them the accuracy corrector squadrons, which is you kind of set your skill to a particular level. You can do some fanky stuff with them, but for the most part, you know, you have the Predator, you're having those rerolls, you have that durability, so you're kind of set in a niche, in a way of doing things, and if you can, you know, if you can play to the strengths of the list, you'll come out on top. But you can't do overly amazing things with them. You can't do, you know.
Well, it's like for any of the Warhammer players out there, it's basically the Space Marine list. It's compact, it's durable, it's decent at what it does, but it doesn't excel at any one particular thing.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best description.
I suppose, yeah.
It's a good analogy.
And you're not skewing yourself too much.
No. But I am, as we mentioned before, I am curious to see kind of the evolution of these list styles with the change to margin of victory and how that's calculated.
Yeah.
Given that you now can get half VP value for bringing an opponent's ship, large ship below half.
Yeah. It also means that the smaller fighters are much more valuable in the sense that you can have a small fighter like a K-Wing or like Cornhorn that takes a beating, but if it lasts the whole game and survives, then it's not giving up any points.
Like a Cornhorn at 1 health is worth 0 VP. Leebo or Chewie at 1 health is worth
a decent chunk. And
probably, yeah, well, at least 25.
Well, yeah. Well, if it's a dash, it could be up to 53 points.
Yeah.
So half of that, it's 25.
25. You're looking at about 25 to 30 points for one of those large ships.
Yeah.
So that's not insignificant.
It could make the difference between a loss and, say, a margin,
A minor
modified
win.
win.
Yeah. And here we go. We've got, looks like Rob, he's got, decided this turn. This is the turn to come about and engage.
Well, he has the ability to get some nice flanking action on Chewie, and that would be really good to do, just because Chewie is kind of stuck between the asteroids. He doesn't have that far to go. If he is going forward, just following Leebo doing the conga line thing, then he kind of has to move towards the B-wing swarm. And
he has to move laterally across in front of them.
yeah, otherwise he's flying completely away from them, and Leebo can just be picked apart.
Yeah.
Ideally, Rob wants to go after Chewie 100%. In this particular setup, Chewie needs to go first. Leebo is
annoying,
but he's not dangerous. He doesn't have the determination pilot EPT, so he can't just mill pilot crits out. So he's not as durable.
Yeah, and it's Rob's has the attack dice advantage right now, but I guess that's the interesting thing, kind of a catch-22 with this, is because Leebo does shoot better than Chewie does. Well, it's like, do you let Leebo live to end game where you have a couple damaged ships? It's really a... I don't know. It's an interesting...
He has the better range 3 option, but for the most part, those B-Wings want to get within range 1, range 2. And yes, Leebo can barrel roll out of the way and be very annoying for those big B-Wings, but you know, if you have 2 or 3 fighters, you can mitigate that. On top of which, that Mangler Cannon isn't scary at range 1, where those B-Wings are 4 attack dice at range 1. You close in with those B-Wings, and you have the advantage. You close in with a Falcon, it has 4 attack dice at you. I think Chewie is much scarier right now.
You're gonna get a hurting.
And the frustrating thing is that Leebo does have that Janors thing, so if you don't kill Leebo...
It's just making Chewie that much more durable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely an interesting choice. I would agree with Chewie must die. But in this case, Swarm versus 2 ships, yeah, Chewie must die.
Chewie must die. But
especially rolling like that, Chewie must die. So there he is. We've got the first hits of the game coming from the Wookiee.
Yeah.
Apparently Wookiees, unlike Stormtroopers, can shoot straight.
Yeah.
Or at least, you know, the Stormtroopers aren't shooting at characters with plot armor. So
No, I'm pretty sure the Stormtroopers were ordered to miss on purpose.
That's fair. Nice hits. Got a Mangler Cannon as well, changing that hit to a crit. It's that fleeting B-wing is looking kind of beat up already.
Oh yeah.
He just lost 6 health.
Which is really surprising because when we've been watching Rob's videos, him basically winning and fighting against the Z95 Swarm and all of these other fighters, Rob barely takes a scratch to one particular fighter. He's able to shuffle and juggle through these fighters to keep the damage over all of the fighters rather than on just one fighter. So the fact that his lead fighters in this jousting business, they're getting picked apart, is going to be hurt.
I think that's the thing with at least this particular point where he has chosen to force the engagement. He's not really going to be able to peel fighters off at this point.
No.
So he's got to roll with it.
Yeah, he's lancing in, and it's kind of on Clayton's terms right now. He has the asteroid in his way. I don't think all of his fighters are getting shots on Chewie, which means he has to split his fire. Rob knows he is no stranger to how bad splitting fire is. So it's unfortunate that Rob didn't set himself up into a better engagement spot, but this is what he has. This is what he's done. This is his bed that he's made. He's going to sleep in it.
Yeah. And by the looks of it, he's just elected to to concentrate fire on Leebo this turn.
Well,
all of his ships can shoot Leebo, so
if you can burn through Leebo right away and just eliminate him, go for it, right? I mean, like, yeah, you want to kill Chewie, but if Chewie's the only ship on the board and you have 5 or 6 ships left, well, 5 in this case, great. Like, the problem with leaving Chewie to the last is you don't have enough firepower, you don't have enough ships to mitigate the C-3PO, to mitigate the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, you can't punch through that 3PO title ability.
Yeah, the regenerating a blade of armor that he has is really, really difficult for a lot of the smaller ship lists.
Yeah.
Or a little bit more of the glass cannon lists, because you lose a couple fighters and then you're stuck to one. You need to do like 3 or 4 damage every turn in order to have any kind of traction.
And it's still going to take you 4 turns to kill the thing.
Yeah. And that's 4 turns that he's firing back with Predator.
Yeah. It's a very very reliable setup.
Oh, for sure.
It looks like actually it looks like Rob did manage to blow Leebo's shields completely away though. So not necessarily a bad trade.
No, not really at all. If a dedicated turn of just blowing through Leebo could make this winnable for Rob.
Yeah.
Rob really has to eliminate Leebo and not lose too many fighters before working on Chewie. And if he does that, then he's good. It's not necessarily a lot of worry about skill, because when it comes to Rob's ability to fly fighters against Chewie, it's not that difficult to do. The B-Wings are very good at tight maneuvers, and the Falcon, while has a really good dial, does not have as good of a dial as the YT-2400, and can't do things like 3 hard turns, which would allow it to get away. Can't do things like barrel rolls that would allow it to get away. So when it comes to sheer firepower and maneuverability, the B-Wings have it here. Can he use it to his advantage? We'll see.
For sure. It looks like he's coming about into a turn here. Kind of looks like he's trying to preempt where Leebo's going to go. Get as broad a fire arc as he possibly can.
Well, we've seen this tactic in the past, and normally this leads to an envelope, where Rob just does K-turns with most of his fighters, and leads it to, there we go, tighten that up a little bit so it's not on an asteroid.
Yep. It's very tight barrel roll there, though.
Barrel rolling. I like it. Barrel rolling allows you to show off how sexy your maneuvers are.
Yeah.
That's why I like ships with barrel rolls. You get to, it's just the panache, sorry. It's
Oh, and just the imagery of a B-Wings rotating about the cockpit.
Yeah.
Lazily rolling over into a new spot
the B-Wing
it's strange to think of, but
yeah, if B-Wings were beds, it would be a waterbed.
yeah. I don't know. Mind you, that YT-2400 doing a barrel roll, that would look awful silly too.
Yeah, it probably would.
Though we did see the Falcon do barrel rolls in Empire Strikes Back, so who knows?
Well, that's because he has expert handling on.
Yeah, unless it's Han Solo, so.
So here we have some B-Wings and really being clustered up.
Yeah, he's setting up a box. He's setting up his kill box here.
Leebo only has so many places to go, and the beautiful thing with the B-Wings and their barrel rolls is that you can barrel roll yourself in such a way that you have a wide firing arc. Yeah, you might not get the full attack, like you might not get range 2, you might get range 3, but some shots are better than no shots.
Exactly. And Leebo is definitely limited on where he can go if he doesn't want to run through that asteroid.
Yeah.
He's turning left as hard as he possibly can.
Yeah.
Which, none of those maneuvers are terribly fast.
I don't know, I would probably just do a hard maneuver to the left, maybe a 3 hard maneuver, and say, well, I'm not going to match you so much, but give myself a little distance. You know that the B-Wings are coming after you. You know that the blood's in the water. There is just so many attack dice that can go your way.
Those guns there?
Yeah.
Get out of there. Disengage. You want to be at the range 3 band with the Mangler Cannon anyway.
No, it looks like he has opted to... Hello back. To go with the 1 turn, not lose the action, not potentially take a damage point.
Yeah, it's a fair move. It's a safe move.
It is the safe move. And I mean, he is at range 2, so he's not getting shot with 4 dice.
Yeah.
We'll see if it pays off.
I still think, especially if you're going to do a barrel roll here, like he's doing, probably have just done the 2 maneuver anyway. You do get a little bit more distance, or maybe a 3 turn if you're going to go that full distance. Yeah. The YT-2400 has the tight maneuvers to get yourself away from that board edge.
Definitely.
And it doesn't, when it comes to going off the board, it doesn't matter if your template's off the board. It only matters if your base, if your base is on the board or not.
Well, if the maneuver template clips the edge, you're gone as well.
No.
Does it? Oh, is that changed?
Yeah.
Oh. Because I remember that from the demo. That was extraordinarily unforgiving.
Yeah. No, not saying the game has gotten a little easier. It's changed to be a little bit more fair, I think.
Yeah. So I remember that. That was just like, oh, that is ball busting.
What I like to imagine is for anybody who's played like Battlefield or Call of Duty or mostly Battlefield.
You must re-enter play.
You must re-enter the battlefield. You must re-enter the battlefield.
Okay. All right. I like that.
I'm curious if Battlefront will have similar that kind of gimmick to it.
As far as I know, it does. But oh, and there it is. There is the first casualty of the game. It was that beat up B-wing.
I'm also surprised that Rob didn't disengage with that.
He's in that asteroid cluster. Really doesn't, the way he was turned into the cluster and the way his other ships were.
Yeah.
He really didn't have an option to disengage.
No, he didn't. And that's kind of, not saying that's Rob's fault, but it's what happens when you engage on terms you're not comfortable with, and letting Clayton set the rules of engagement.
Exactly.
I mean, when you get to the final battle of the night, you know, you're doing the tournament play, and this is God knows how many games in.
This is round 7.
Yeah.
There were 5 rounds of placings, and then cut to top 4. So there's 2 rounds. This has been a long day.
Was it cut to top 4? Cut to top 8?
Cut to top 8? I don't remember.
I think it was 8, and then 4, and then this is the final elimination. So
that's 8 rounds. Then.
That's brutal amount of games.
That is grotesque.
Yeah. So I mean, I know personally, and this is only from flying 3 fighters, that I'm pretty mentally exhausted when it comes to Game 6 or Game 7. The fact that Rob's been flying 5 fighters
all day,
and we've been watching him on our videos, he's been flying them fairly well. So to have him oops a little bit, it's one of those things.
It's, shall we say, inevitable?
Yeah. It is his destiny.
Yeah. And here we go. Here's Leebo's pilot ability triggering.
Okay.
He took a crit, so he's going to draw 2 and pick the, well, lesser of 2 evils.
He's not taking that direct hit.
No. He's taking all his hard turns.
All
are red maneuvers.
Yeah.
Which, okay.
I thought it was.
Or no. When he performs a red maneuver, he takes a damage. That's what it was.
When it comes to Leebo,
no,
not going to happen. Are you going to do a K turn? Probably not. Okay.
Yeah. Behold, this is the field I plant my. Well, insert here. Observe it as barren. But yeah, so looks like Robbie's getting as much firepower into Leebo as he can. He's decided, you know what? I'm going to focus on him, try to kill him. He's tanking it, but Leebo is taking a beating.
Yeah, and there's some straggler. It looks like Rob's straggling at this point because the tip of the lance was broken.
It's broken by that asteroid field.
Yeah.
And obviously the tip died, but he's really had to split and very specifically play around those asteroids.
So this looks like a really tight maneuver.
Yeah, this is a range 3 that is going to be very close to landing on that asteroid.
Looks like he is. I'm not sure if he's going to be hitting that asteroid or not. It's going to be very, very close.
I'm on the nub on nub on.
No, I'm not. It's the one thing with the camera. You need to see the whole board, so sometimes it can't zoom in quite as much. It kind of looked like he did nudge it, but it's really hard to tell. So it's the final. They've called Nick over. They've called the judge over. He'll give a ruling on this. And that's fair. This is definitely a judge-worthy moment.
Yeah.
This can be a major turning point.
Yeah.
If that B-wing's on the asteroid, he can't shoot this turn.
And that's a big deal for Rob.
Oh, it is. That's 3 attack dice he's losing.
And the other frustrating thing is, as we mentioned before, you have a long day, going over this entire game kind of thing, and you make mistakes like that, and you feel bad for making mistakes like that, or you mismeasure by like an inch or whatever. It sucks when the judge says, oh well, you hit the asteroid, too bad, so sad, but
It wasn't caught.
you're trying to play as quickly as possible. This is game 8. You've been in there for God knows how many hours, and like it's rough. And right here, it looks like Clayton's just really making it difficult for Rob. Whether or not Rob deserves this, I don't know. But
I think that's one of those. It's one of those unwritten. Actually, in some places it is written, but one of those kind of generally accepted rules of don't be a dick.
well, what it is written in X-Wing, like 100% golden rule here, is bumping and maneuvering and bumping into things, it's going to happen. Yeah, you can call it sloppy play. You've been playing for 8 hours. You're going to bump stuff. You're going to nudge stuff. If I've, doing the dishes for an hour or whatever, I knock stuff over too. It's just the way that it happens. You do a very intensive activity for a long period of time. Your brain's going to get exhausted. You're not going to have the mental finesse and physical finesse that you would had you been only playing the game for half an hour.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. However, you're still playing a game. Bumping happens. It's frustrating. You don't, it's one of those things that you call or whatever. You don't need to be a dick about it.
Go for it.
And that's one of the things. Like, all right, judge made a ruling. That's it.
Yeah.
That is, from my view, that is sufficient. Like, okay, nope. Nick made the call. Play on.
Yeah. But like I said.
So. And the call came down that Rob's on the asteroid. So that is a B-wing that he's losing shots from this turn, which it's unfortunate, and it is so frustrating to be so close of is he on, is he not?
Yeah, especially on like a high stress turn like that where you really want to get those shots on, you really want to finish them off. Like when we've talked about landing on asteroids many times at X-Wing.
Yeah. It's like, dang, I landed on asteroid. That sucks.
When it happens, it can lose you a game.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And
man, I've flown my Phantoms through asteroids so many times, and they just go...
But you learn from that, right? And you try to make sure that you don't do it again.
I like to think so.
The game mostly is being able to visualize where you're going to go, and then the rest of the game is...
Getting there.
So... And dice modification. There's luck and dice involved, but.
And here's I like what Clayton did here. This is smart. He's putting Chewie between Leebo and Rob's fleet. He's getting Leebo as far away as possible. He knows Leebo's in trouble. Leebo can die.
Yeah. Very
quickly if he's not careful.
Yeah.
And so far, Chewie's only taken the 1 point of damage. So he's like, hey, I have 12 health remaining.
Is that okay?
You have to eat through every single one of these points.
Yeah.
Come on.
You see, it happens. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not deliberately doing that shit.
Yeah, there's some bumping there on Clayton's part too, so there's that. Which is kind of funny.
Like I said,
it happens. Shit happens.
Bumping happens.
But
Leebo's out of range, so Chewie's getting shot this turn.
Oh yeah. And you know what? I think that shooting Chewie is probably the better of the two choices anyway. You have 3 or 4 ships left. It's not too late to switch targets and burn him down, and then you can finish off Leebo with his 4 hull left. Like big whoop.
Yeah.
Now would be the turn to change targets if you're going to do that. Does suck. One of the B-wings can't shoot. Whack whack.
Got to deal with it. Got to live with it. And that's a hit and a crit, and that looks like that is a direct hit. B-wing on the asteroid goes down.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
That's kind of like kicking a man while he's down.
That is right in the giblies right there.
But it wasn't meant to be.
No. And it looks like the Bandit, he's out of arc this turn, so Rob's got 2 blue Squadron engaging into Chewie. 1 is through the asteroid. I would say shoot at him first, actually, to try to bait Chewie out if he has to.
Mm.
He's not going to do it with 1, though.
No. Oh, and a lot of weaker Falcon players with C-3PO might just accidentally default.
Oh, I'm getting shot first? 3PO, yeah.
Yeah, but when you have 3 defense dice.
His range 3 through an asteroid, he doesn't need it. So he can save the 3PO for here. Burns the lock, 3 hits.
Very solid.
Yeah.
1 defense dice. Let's see if any comes through.
So it looks like... Okay, yep. So he did 3PO there. Guesses 0. Takes his evade token. Takes 1 damage. I was curious to see if he would go for the guess and evade and try to mitigate all 3, but at this point, playing safer is definitely the way to go.
Clayton, at the moment, has the upper hand.
Oh, for sure.
He had forced Rob to split his fire. He is in a really good spot. He's not going to have to deal with these asteroids anymore, where Rob really is going to have to deal with obstacles and obstructions. Rob really has to pedal to the metal in order to even get engaged with Leebo, because he had to fire at Leebo first.
And he's got that giant debris cloud sitting in front of his 2 heavy hitters.
Yes.
One of which is... He's probably going through an asteroid regardless of what he does.
Yeah.
No, conceding.
Which means less actions. And action economy hurts. I mean, when you have fly a swarm, you lose actions, you lose fighters. It's not nearly as prevalent with B-Wings because they're rebel ships. The
amount of hull and shields they have. Yeah.
Rebel ships are easy mode compared to TIE fighters, in my opinion.
They're durable. They're definitely durable. I don't know about easy mode. They're definitely durable.
I'm just being a little, jaded.
I see.
But, no, B-Wings are solid. And the fact that he's losing actions, setting up the target lock, that kind of thing, it's rough.
Yeah, and Leebo is definitely... He's in a nice spot here. He can circle strafe if he wants. Very nice, just banked 3 maneuver. Keep as much distance between him and those B-Wings as he can.
Oh, for sure.
He can't barrel roll. That would put him off the board this turn. However, hey, that's an evade token. He's got 2 defense dice. He can make those 4 remaining hull work.
Yes.
What, 3, 4? Yeah. Something like that.
Well, that is another interesting thing that is in the errata for people that don't know. If you barrel roll and it would put you off the board, and that's what you want to do, you're going off the board.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's no longer you no longer can.
It's no longer a safe place to be.
So it's no longer like hitting an asteroid of you can't. You can take back.
Flying off the board is a legal place to be.
Yeah. All right. So the board edge has gotten more permeable, and yet not.
Yeah.
Oh no, I guess it has gotten a lot more permeable.
Yeah, just don't barrel roll off of the board.
No.
Or don't try to.
Yeah. You can definitely edge hump. Just don't go off.
If you're going to barrel roll, be very sure where you're going to put your token, and make sure that as you're eyeing it and you say, "I'm going to barrel roll," you have to tell, when it comes to the final events, it comes to big tournament events like this, and you're in the top tables. When you're called on to barrel roll, you have to declare which direction you're going to go. You can't just say, "I'm barrel rolling." Oh, I guess I'm going to barrel roll left side or right side. As you're eyeing it, you have to say, "I'm barrel rolling to this direction," or "I'm boosting to this direction."
Well, I suppose it'd be interesting is if you're able to barrel roll off the board, are you able to boost off the board as well?
That is something I'd have to look up.
It seems likely.
If you guys know, feel free to leave a comment in the section below. We'll check it out, and definitely like your comment if you were right.
So here we go. Got again, Clayton opening fire, getting some good damage through into those B-wings. He's got 1 shield down, only got 3 health left.
That is just so much firepower going into those B-wings. One of those daunting things about looking at the B-wings is just how durable they are. They throw 3 attack dice each, which is pretty daunting by themselves. There's 5 ships in a rebel list. That's pretty crazy. And then 5 shields.
2 hits from the headhunter, 2 evades from Leebo.
Leebo says no.
Leebo says nope.
I am a droid. I care not. I don't think Leebo sounds like that. He actually has more sass. He's like
he's
a jerk version of C-3PO.
Yes, sir. All right, so that is 2 to 3 hits going into Leebo here. That's a crit, so there's a nice use of the pilot ability again. And okay, so it was 2 potentials, burns the evade, takes 1. Okay,
That's solid.
it's not bad.
I think that they are angled.
It's damage that Rob really needs to get through.
I know when they're parallel, you get
Leebo's in a tight spot.
But if they're
Yes.
angled at all,
Yeah, he definitely is. He is critted all
but
to
it
heck.
is close.
Like this,
I
this
think
is
one
your
more
closest
solid hit
distance right here.
put him in the dirt.
There or there, you're not through the asteroid.
And so here we've got
Alright. Seems to me that.
a line of sight question here, and the closest point is the closest point of the focused B-wing to Leebo through that debris cloud or not? Now, from this point of view, it looks like the top right corner of Leebo is canted closer to the bottom right corner of the focused B-wing. but that may just be our vantage point.
Yeah, we do have a really skewed view of reality sitting here and viewing through our probe droid. So,
But again, you know, it's definitely, at this point, this is one of those,
call the judge.
yeah, if you're not sure, it's the final. That's the difference in a hit, right there.
Yeah, for sure.
And at this point, that could be the difference in dead Leebo. So that is, yeah, call the judge. And judge's ruling, closest points through the debris cloud.
And it looks like no damage was taken.
Leebo survives.
No, I'm sorry. No, you're right. You're right. I just didn't see that. I didn't know you got that.
And that's the other
Gave
thing.
me that look. I was like,
When it comes to the finals, when it comes to your last match, you don't need to rush. You don't need to. You just take as much time as you want. I mean, sure, you want to get out of there after you've been playing for so long. You don't really want to just, oh god, I'm gonna play for another 3.5 hours. Don't slow play, obviously.
No.
But you can take the time to figure out what you're going to do, and play appropriately. You're not locked
There will
into
be a
the-
finisher.
Yeah, you're not locked into that time frame.
It's a nice, definitely nice. It takes some stress off you because you're used to playing to that clock. Well, it's essentially it's a death clock.
Oh yeah.
You have X amount of time to finish the game, and in the finals, like no, I can use my fleet to its full potential. I don't have to worry about time constraints. All right, let's do this.
Yeah, and that also brings up the fact that some of the bigger, bulkier lists that you're used to seeing in this meta, well, they rely going to clock against, say, a tie swarm.
Mm-hmm.
A tie swarm, if it gets up to the finals, it will rip apart. It takes time to do it because it's a death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Yeah.
But it'll do it. And if it has no time constraints, it could do it effectively.
And you don't have those. You don't have margin of victory constraints, so you can't husband your damage points to force that really good margin of victory when you've taken a buttload of damage.
Yeah. I think that,
It's an interesting dichotomy shift for sure.
and the fact that most of the games that were seen in the regionals were the 60-minute games, and that has been, as of now, completely done away with, and tournament play is now just 75 minutes. Done. You're playing 100 points, you're playing 75 minutes. Deal with it.
Okay.
I like that. I like that Fantasy Flight has sort of put their foot down. It kind of
Yeah, because you always had that 60-minute middle, but you could go 15 plus or minus 15.
yeah, something like that. And so you would have these tournaments where there would only be 60-minute turns, and there might be an abuse of the fact that they're not necessarily slow playing, but they're playing in a very awkward way. They might pick off a couple of ships, get what they need to kill, and then just be so durable as they are here that you never have to worry.
Yeah, you force that margin of victory win.
Yeah, and you won't see that as much anymore. Not with the big changes to the big ships, and the fact that they give up half points if you've taken out half of them, and the 75-minute turns.
I like that because we're here to play a game, not game the rules.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what that feels like. Is that I mean, yeah, in a lot of other games, like,
Take the model off for this one time.
don't want to really sound hypocritical here.
Well, I gotta put a lot of pins
I
on.
play War Machine. It's a completely valid strategy to just throw enough models at your opponent that they clock themselves out.
Yeah.
In X-Wing, it can be. Yeah, all right, that's a valid strategy. It doesn't make for an enjoyable game for either party, though.
No. I mean, for the most part, the reason why a lot of people play X-Wing is because you're in the Star Wars universe. You like the ships. You like them. They look awesome. The game plays. The fighters play the way that they should for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
You get to play with some of the most iconic pilots of the Star Wars expanded universe, as well as some of the new characters from the new universe. You get to really feel like you're a part of that. And there's another B-Wing gone from a big hit from Clayton. Sorry, I'm sort of digressing here, but when it comes to X-Wing, that's the reason why this game is so popular. It's the reason why we want to play it, is because we want to be in this universe. We don't want to be in a universe of just, these are game mechanics.
But, however, on a mechanics note, little unfortunate that Bandit bumped into Leebo. However, the Rob's B-Wing does put the final nail in Leebo's coffin, and he did get in the way of Chewie. And as we saw, in the finals, or in these regional tournaments, all ships have to be on their stands at all times.
Yeah.
So they had to find 2 extra pegs to elevate Chewie above that B-Wing.
Yeah.
So that he could end in his correct landing spot whilst on his stand.
And now he's really, really tall.
Yes. Yes, he is.
So Rob's in a very difficult position, in my opinion. As we see here, he had a bunch of stress. 1 stress from going through the debris.
And 1 stress for the 3 bank.
Exactly. And Clayton has a pretty much not full health, but
He's only taken 2.
Only taken 2 damage.
And there he goes. He's gonna come back down out of the 3 dimensions.
I think Rob finally took him down a peg. But you have these. You have a stressed out B-Wing, and you have a Z95 against a fully fleshed out Falcon. That's not a fight that I would expect Rob to win anytime
No,
soon.
at this point, I think the scale of attrition has swung in Clayton's favor. It took Rob too long to kill Leebo.
It took him too long. That asteroid bump really screwed him over.
I would say it probably took him 2 turns too long to kill Leebo.
Yeah, and he had to split his fire.
Yeah, he did.
And it wasn't even effective splitting of fire.
He only got 2 damage to show for it. Like, that's against Chewie.
You go big or go home.
Yeah, you need those huge hits.
It's so hard to kill that thing with 2 ships.
I'm very interested to see how the twin laser turret deals with a build like this.
For sure, it's interesting. It's that thing of, I have my 1 ship that, yeah, come on out, 3PO. I'm just gonna shoot you again anyway.
Yeah.
And even if I get 3 hits, you cancel 2 of them, that's fine. I still count as hitting you because we just cancel all dice results and then I do a point.
Yeah. It's nice to see that. I was going to say Fantasy Flight's doing this on purpose, but they're constantly changing the meta so that certain fighters that you wouldn't ever really take, you might be considered taking, like Y-wings with twin laser turrets, and B, if you're going to really play very janky kind of, well, look how tough and resilient, and I'm just going to fly around the board, then you have to know how to fly it. You need to know how to play it really well, or you're going to be taken down a peg.
Yeah. Well, they are. That's like, I like what Fantasy Flight's doing. They are dynamically adjusting the game balance based on what they see. If they see, with any playtesting, I've been involved in playtesting. You've been involved in
gamble maneuver for the
playtesting.
day.
You can't ever see all of the possibilities. Game devs see one thing. You get from a handful of game devs into the hands of thousands or tens of thousands of players.
Yeah.
They're going to see most of the exploits or clever use of game mechanics.
Yeah.
But they're still not going to see everything.
Yeah.
And then you see these things that come up, it's like, oh, wow, that's not really working the way we intend it to. Okay, well, we're not going to invalidate what we've already released. We're going to see what's not performing well and fix it.
Yeah, I am always a big fan of buff the lower guy rather than the OP guy. It's one of the constant arguments of rock, paper, scissors. I'm rock, you're paper. I would rather you nerf paper, buff scissors.
Yeah. It's the nice thing of, and it doesn't really lead to power creep because you have that bar. Okay, you don't really want to raise that bar, or else you do get that accusation of power creep, and then you have that whole thing of, well, I need to get the newest, shiniest thing.
Yeah.
But if you try to tend towards a nice, even ground, whilst making each ship unique and do its own thing in ways that are ways that are different and compelling to other ships, I think that is the hallmark of a good game design.
All right, so it looks like I don't know if Rob's actually landing on I did not see any nudging on.
That looks like he did manage to slot into that gap, so
That
that is some nice flying there.
and here's the B-wing doing it too hard, so it's not stressful, but it's not shedding his stress.
No, he's accepted that B-wing's not performing actions basically ever again. Or at least, well, actually no, probably not ever again. And it looks like Clayton is, he wants to finish this. I want to go home. I'm going to be in range 1 of this B-wing. I've got the damage points. I can soak it.
Yeah.
You know, I can take a few rounds of shooting from this thing. Let's just rip through it.
Yeah.
I got 4 versus 1. Let's party. And that's that. Yep, Rob only had 2 health left. That was 4 hits. That's that B-wing gone regardless of what he rolls.
Brutal.
And yeah, it looks like he's resolving the headhunter. Poking at Chewie. You know, through the debris cloud. Unlikely to really do a whole lot to him.
This is a nigh impossible fight for the Z95, and Rob knows it. So
Yeah.
he is conceding here, and that is Regionals Gamezilla for 2015.
Oh, look, that was a rush from start to finish.
It was brutal. It was brutal. It was nice to see a slew of different fighters, different play styles. It seemed like there was a bit of contention here in this last game. It's a little unfortunate that your final game of the event has to have that high stress, but that's to be expected. You know, you've been playing for so long, as we mentioned already, playing for so long, you just get there and
You know,
hopes and dreams, right?
The prize is in reach.
Yeah. So, but if you're going to be a Wookiee, just fly casual.
Fly casual.
Thanks for watching Wookiees on X-Wing. Be sure to like and subscribe. You can also follow us on Twitter at NorthGameNet or on Facebook at Northern Gaming Network. We also have a website where we put on blogs and have additional information on our Wookiees video. That's at northerngamingnetwork.com.
And if you happen to have an interest in basically a variety of other sorts of games, sure there's something there to catch your eye.
Thank you very much, guys.
Have a great one.